Good evening and welcome to the Celtic Way Celtic versus Chelsea lineup reaction programme as Celtic get set to face English Premier League opposition in the shape of Chelsea in the Notre Dame Stadium in Indiana. I'm Tony Haggerty at Haggerty10 on the X or Twitter handle. I'm delighted as always to be joined by Ryan McGinley at the Ryan McGinley. How are you, sir?
Things are good. Saturday night football can't beat it. Especially, I don't know about you. I like this time for a game of football or watching sport or anything. If you're into boxing or mixed martial arts like I am, or any American sports, you're used to watching games of football or any sport at this time of night. I feel more alive. I feel ready. I'm just looking forward. I'm looking forward to this game tonight. Should be interesting. I think it'll be a step up in opposition, just down to personnel, not down to the team, but the actual personnel in the team, because they'll have more of their first team players in and around the squad. I'll try and actually speak through their team once I get it in a couple of minutes, but I think it'll be sterner opposition tonight than what it was the other night, which is good. Good preparation for Celtic and a pretty strong team. I don't know about you, Tony, but I think that's a very strong team. It's not too far off what we would expect Celtic to be naming against Kilmarnock a week tomorrow.
Yeah, we spoke off air, didn't we? And we thought the addition of AJ at right back, Alistair Johnson, couldn't remember his name there for a second, must be getting old, Ryan, eh? And the possibility of Nicholas Kuhn, who's not in the side tonight. He's still, he was recovering from a knee knock, wasn't he? But we feel that Nicholas Kuhn would be in for Forest, and Alistair Johnson come back into right back. We reckon that could be as close as possible to the team that starts against Kilmarnock, you reckon, Ryan?
Yeah, I do think so. I would want Nicholas Kuhn to be starting against Kilmarnock. I hope it's not a new injury that he's picked up in training, because he was in all the training videos leading up to this game. So I hope he's not aggravated that slight injury that he picked up against Manchester City or made it worse. It's disappointing. He was the player that I was really excited to watch tonight, to be honest, because I wanted to see him kick on. He was the player that was on everybody's lips, not just Celtic fans. Seen a few opposition fans as well talking about how good that goal was the other night as well, which was a welcome sight. And I seen Manchester City fans, American fans talking about how good the goal was from start to finish. So it's disappointing, but it's not a downgrade in any way, shape, or form whatsoever. James Forrest is a veteran in this game, and might need that experience on the right wing tonight against good opposition. So he'll get his chance. Probably deserves another starting run out, given the way he played last season. So not a problem, but I'm just hoping that Nicholas Kuhn's injury isn't anything too serious. He'd be one of the first names on the team sheet for me next Sunday against Kilmarnock. I just want to see him kick on now. From now, This is the start of his Celtic career, and I'm just a tad disappointed. Maybe they're just taking no risks with his injury. They're giving him a week. I hope that's the case.
I think it's purely a precautionary measure, Ryan, and rattling him up in Cottonwell, because I would think they want to unleash him against Kilmarnock, and it would be silly if he did play and aggravated. I think the manager said it was a slight knee injury, wasn't it? But nothing to get worried about. So hopefully that's the case, and they've just sort of put the protective shield around him and said, nope, won't take any chances with you, Nicholson. But great to see Cameron and Carter-Vickers back in that centre of that defence. As I've said many times, you just shrug your shoulders and breathe a bit more easily when you see him and smile, don't you, when he's at the heart of that Celtic back four?
Yeah, and it's great as well that he's playing in the country that he plays for internationally. Yeah. He'll have spent more time in America this summer than he has in Scotland, which is fair enough. That's where the Copa America was getting played. I know his game time is very, very limited, if he even got on the pitch at all for America or the United States. So that was a bit disappointing for him. It was disappointing as a whole for America getting put out so early on in the competition. They would have wanted to have got quite far deep into that particular tournament, but it was Canada that sort of took the spotlight away from them. I'm happy that he can play. I'm glad that one of the American boys or North American players is featuring tonight. I was worried that was maybe not going to be the case when Celtic went to South Korea. Didn't know if O was going to play or Kwon or that, but it turned out they didn't go to South Korea at all. So it's good to see that the people that are going to the game will be seeing an American representative, an American national team member take to the field. I'm not expecting amazing things from him, because he's just coming back from a small layoff due to the Copa America finishing in an extended break, but looking forward to seeing him on the pitch, get some minutes, keep him injury free, and get him into this start of the season as fit as he possibly can be, because he is the difference a lot of the time between Celtic winning and not winning games.
Yep, there's a team for you on the screen there, guys. It's Schmeichel in goal, Anthony Ralston right back, Carter-Vickers and Scales in the middle of the defence, Greg Taylor left back. In the midfield, it's the midfield trio of Rio Achate, Callum McGregor, Matt O'Reilly, and up front is James Forrest on the right, Kyogo through the middle, and Dyson Maida on the left. As you say, Ryan, it's as strong as it can possibly be, with a couple of minor tweaks ahead of next Sunday, Flag Day against Kilmarnock.
Yep, and it's a strong team from Chelsea as well, the opposition tonight. Just having a wee look there, it's going to be Christopher Nkunku that's leading the line. He scored against Celtic previously when he played for RB Leipzig rather, in the Champions League. There's a couple of really famous names, you could say, Mudryk being one of them. Celtic have faced him before. Shakhtar Donetsk, he's playing. He wasn't playing. Yeah, he wasn't playing against Wrexham the other night, but he's starting tonight for Enzo Maresca's side. Wesley Fofana, who Brendan Rodgers will know all about. He signed him for Leicester. So that'll be a bit of a reunion between the two. He's had a torrid time with injuries over the past couple of years, so he's now back and fully fit. Reece James is the captain, England international. He was unlucky not to get to the Euros with his injuries too. Let me see who else. Romeo Lavia, who used to play for Southampton, is playing tonight. He was in Manchester City's academy, so he's another famous name. Levy Colwill, that was at Brighton, he's playing tonight too. So it's a very strong lineup from Chelsea. I think this season Chelsea will be looking to push on into those Champions League places. They've got so many talented young players. Maybe they'll be looking for a bit of experience in the coming weeks and months in the transfer window. But stern opposition tonight, a fit young team, and it'll be good to put Celtic through their paces against a side of, at least on paper, real good quality. And I think it'll be the perfect test for them tonight.
Enzo Maresca, the manager, Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
Former Celtic managerial target, who's certainly linked with it, wasn't he?
Two occasions, yeah. Just after... well, he was actually still getting linked with the job when Lennon was still in post. I did see that link a couple of times, and then when Lennon resigned or left the club, his name was linked. And then 2 years later, after Ange Postecoglou left the club, his name was linked once again. I remember watching the Champions League final, Inter Milan v Man City, and I was like, this could be Enzo Maresca's last game as an assistant coach for Pep Guardiola at Man City, because he would make the move to Celtic in the coming days. That didn't turn out to be the case. I think both sides won in that. When it comes to Leicester getting Enzo Maresca and getting back up to the Premier League, Celtic getting Brendan Rodgers and winning the double, it really was a happy situation for all of them in the long run and in the long game. But it's a big job for him. This is a step up for him at Chelsea. He's got a 5-year deal. They clearly believe in him, but at the same time, all it takes a couple of bad results here and there, and the pressure can get on them. The Chelsea fans are an expectant bunch. That's putting it lightly, I would say. But it's a big chance, a big opportunity for him. And it shows he's got that quality that Celtic were scouting him, and he's made that move to Chelsea. Chelsea are a massive team down south, so it'll be interesting to see how he does.
Yeah. Before we go any further, I'll take a moment for a quick word from our sponsor. And if you're looking for a winning heating solution for your home, MPH Boilers are your go-to team. As an award-winning family-run business serving all of mainland Scotland, they bring the best in boiler installations and servicing, and partnered with Viessmann, who are known for their top-notch German engineering boilers. MPH Boilers ensures your home stays warm and efficient all round. So visit www.mphboilers.co.uk for more details. We say thank you to MPH and Viessmann Boilers for their continued sponsorship of the briefings and podcasts. Ryan, going to throw this one up to you. We spoke briefly off air, but this has set social media alight today, hasn't it? Look, Alistair Jackson, what do you guys make of the club? They were pre-selling the third the away kit, the yellow away kit, and they had Bernardo and Ida. You could order those shirts with the numbers and the names on the back. Now, Ryan, you believe there's nothing in that, and you think it's just last year's old list, don't you? That's your thoughts on it?
the kit manufacturers and people that work with the kits don't have that in the knowledge when it comes to signings coming through the door, or certainly not this early. Adamida was at a pre-season friendly, pre-season loss for Norwich last night. I can't remember the team that they were playing, but I think it was in
Magdeburg,
Belgium.
I think it was
Magdeburg.
Magdeburg.
Good knowledge there, Tony. Thank you very much for getting me out of that hole. I would have had to have done a quick Google search for that. There was a slight knock. I was told by colleagues down in Norwich who write for the Pinkin that he actually did have an injury over the past couple of days, a knee injury, just a slight knock. So he wasn't going to be playing in Friday night's game. I'll need to ask again to see if anything was said post-match about him. I don't think there's been much. I think it's a situation that seems to have went to a halt, unfortunately. I don't know if there's maybe been a change in the amount that Celtic have been asked to pay for the player. Has the price been increased because of what he's done at Celtic? You wouldn't be surprised because he's made a name for himself. He's looked comfortable for maybe one of the first times in his career playing games week in, week out and getting guaranteed game time, whether that be in the starting lineup or on the bench. It wouldn't surprise me if the price has been upped due to that and the fact that they know that they can command that sort of fee for him, and the fact that the new manager at Norwich is a fan of him too. So it's an interesting situation. I know you're confident that Adam Eder will still be a Celtic player by the end of this window. I just feel like it's going on too long now. The season starts next week and Celtic only have one striker. They are playing with Kyogo up front tonight. If Kyogo gets injured, who plays up front next week against Kilmarnock? Regardless of who it is, it's not an ideal situation. If Kyogo was to get injured tonight, pick up a knocking and you lose your star striker, your only recognised striker at the moment outside maybe Maeda, but he's more of a left winger. With Bernardo, I think that's a matter of when rather than if. But with Ida, I don't think there's much in that at this moment in time. I could be wrong. There could be stuff happening in the background. But at this point in time, I don't think there's anything in it at the moment from when Celtic last had that bid, which was, the 2nd, 3rd of July. And it doesn't seem to have been that much movement that we know of in that period of time since. If that is the case, then I hope that they've moved on to new targets. If they know that they're not going to get Adam Ida, then they should be far down the line with finding that plan B option.
Alistair Jackson, your spoil sport, Ryan. Alistair, believe me, I still believe that Adam Ida will be a Celtic player come the summer and might be the end of the August transfer window before that comes to fruition. But I'm still a believer in that will happen. Don't know what I think about that list of names that were on the pre-order for the yellow kit, the away kit. It could be an old list. Could be somebody has jumped the gun and let some cat out the bag.
See, somebody wants to test out that theory. Now, I assume by the time the away kit is out, that Paulo Bernardo will be announced once again, or announced as a permanent Celtic player. If you want to test that theory, try and get Ida on the back and buy the top and see if it gets refunded. I mean, someone might actually think you're part of the Ida family and you're just buying the name in the back of your top. But yeah, it's one of those ones. If you want to test that out, football kits are not cheap these days. If you're really desperate to find out if he does come into the club or not, then by all means go for it. But I think it's just one of these things on a website. You can read into it so much.
Yeah, £70 a pop for the jersey, right? There you go. And Kay comes in and says Celtic will get Ida in at the last minute. Celtic fans will just be glad to get him in before it shuts, but he reckons it's the usual from the club. And Stephen Brandon coming in and saying, why didn't Celtic negotiate a loan to buy for Ida in January? The $64,000 question there, Stephen. Indeed. Now, what are you expecting from Celtic tonight, Ryan? Are you expecting more of the same? Hoping for more of the same, the way they played against Manchester City, particularly the first half, when the football was, that it was powerful, it was dynamic, it was penetrative, all the things that the manager wants, and Kuhn showed up well, but some of the passes, both passes to release him for the 2 goals were exquisite, weren't they?
That daisy cutter pass from Rio Hatate to start off the first goal, that's what I want to see more of tonight. Tonight's the chance for Rio Hatate to really kick into gear ahead of this new season. Another good performance, whether that be 45, 50, 65 minutes on the park. If he puts in another good performance, he puts himself in a really good position to start off the season as one of the bona fide number one picks in the midfield. I think he'll take it. Look at where he was a year ago, where his position was not secure whatsoever. It was David Turnbull that was actually getting played ahead of Hatate in the starting lineup for the first couple of games. And then he got that unfortunate injury. It was a stop-start season for him. I think now, and I know people maybe took my tweet a bit too seriously with what I was saying, but he looks more locked in than what he was last season. He looks concentrated. He looks like he's listening to what the manager has to say to him. His English is probably better as well. That's another year in Scotland, so his English will be getting better and better. Be understanding what his manager wants from him, and time is of the essence. If he wants that big move, I don't think he would get a big move this summer whatsoever. I just don't think his stock is that high at this moment in time. He's 26, turning 27 in the second half of the season. So time is ticking in his career. I think he's realised that, and I think the penny's dropped, and he's just going to have to buck up his ideas ever so slightly and get those consistent numbers and the consistent game time. If he can do that, then he'll be one of Celtic's best players. There's no doubt when Hatate's fit and firing, he's one of the best players in the country. So if he can do that, really announce himself in the Champions League like he did 2 seasons ago playing against Real Madrid, as well as dominating on the domestic front, then that's what I want to see. But I want to see more of that. Starts tonight. It started against Man City, to be fair, but I want to see it consolidated and continued. I just want to see that quick tempo once again from Celtic that seen the other night. Really, really encouraging watching Celtic play. Not that horseshoe sort of passing style. They're actually trying to play penetrating passes through the middle, and their speed was hurting Man City on numerous occasions. So if they can keep that speed up against good opposition tonight in Chelsea, more of Chelsea's first team players, then I think it bodes well for a positive season.
Yes, indeed, I totally agree, and I concur with Hatate. I had my say on Hatate, and the manager said it as well. For long and weary, I said his passing was erratic at best, and the manager's called him out on it, but he's clearly had a word with him, and he's clearly told him that in order to play regularly in Brendan Rodgers' team, then that's something that he has to brush up on in order to get that move or take his game to where the manager will take him and elevate his game to where people are talking about him in the same tones they're talking about Matt O'Reilly this minute. He's still got a bit to go for that, myself personally, does Rio Hatate, but we all know the talent's there. But it's not enough for Brendan Rodgers. It has to be honed, and he has to do what the manager says in order to play the game the way the manager wants. And Manchester City game was a good gauge, and then you saw the two of them. You clipped it up in the tunnel, and the two of them were having a good chat, and it he seemed to be on the wavelength of the manager, admitting that the manager was right in what he said to him. So that's all good, and that all augurs well for the future. And we've said it continually, Ryan, is what Brendan Rodgers does as a manager. He improves players, and I think Hatate himself, because he missed a lot of football last season, will think that he has something to prove this season to himself, to the supporters, but more importantly to the manager.
Yeah, I agree with absolutely everything that you said, and I think Brendan Rodgers. I was going to make this point the other night after the Manchester City game, but it just didn't come round to it. I think the best thing for Hatate is he's now out of his comfort zone with Brendan Rodgers, whereas with Ange Postecoglou, with a lot of players playing under him, they had to adapt and play a different style, maybe that was alien to them. For Hatate, he knew how to play that because he'd played similar sort of styles in Japan, and he knew what was expected of the manager. Now there's been a change. It's quite a rare sight, and it's the same for Kyogo as well, and Maeda to a certain extent, although he acclimatised better than the two of them. Certainly second half of the season, they're now playing a style that's maybe alien to them, about being more careful on the ball, trying to help their teammates and provide for teammates. And it's maybe taking a bit of time to acclimatise to that, but I think you're starting to see the fruits from both players. Hatate, and there's no doubt in my mind that Hatate and Kyogo are more talented players on the ball than Daizen and Maeda. Maeda gives you different qualities, gives you physical qualities, that constant running, athletically he beats the two of them all day long. But technically, those two players are better than Maeda, and it's all about them getting used to that new style under Rodgers. They've had a season. They've now had a full pre-season without any injuries. I think you're going to see the best of them once again. And that's quite exciting for me because they were heroes under Ange Postecoglou, the two of them. And Kyogo was to an extent last season too. He scored big goals. But if you can get the both of them firing on all cylinders and from the same hymn sheet once again, then you solve a lot of problems very, very quickly because they're both talented individuals and they're good eggs off the park as well, by all accounts.
566 people joining us live. Thanks very much, guys. We'll be on at some point after the game as well. You want to jump back on, myself and Ryan will talk you through it at some point tonight. Can't say when, but when the work's done, we'll be on through the night and through the wee small hours by the looks of it, as we did the other night. So you can come back on after the game and we'll be here and we'd love to enjoy your company as well. And if you look at the bottom, subscribe to the Celtic Way website. Costs you £1 for 6 months of top quality journalism covering the club you love. And if you subscribe before the 30th, guys and girls, look at that. You will see a framed Celtic top from last season, 2023-24, signed home jersey by all the players and the managers. And it's worthy of having that, the double winning team from 2023-24. And it costs you £1 for 6 months to subscribe. www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. And this offer is open to existing subscribers as well. So new subscribers, if you subscribe, you'll be entered into the draw. And existing subscribers, you're already in. And you have got a couple of days left, 3 days, or 2 and a bit days. 30th of July is the expiry date. Somebody's got to win that shirt, Ryan, that signed shirt by the manager and the players from the double winning side of last season. Brendan Rodgers, historical first season back in charge of the club in his second stint. It's a wonderful prize and another great giveaway from the Celtic Way. So somebody's got to win that, Ryan.
Absolutely, got to be in it to win it. Don't buy a ticket, you don't win the lottery or the signed shirt, as it may be in this instance or in this case. So, yeah, good luck to everybody that's joined. Good luck to everybody that's already entered into that by subscribing. We thank you for your subscription. Anybody that's still yet to subscribe, on the website after the game, there will be Brendan Rodgers comments, likely from Celtic TV, as soon as we can get it, as well as the instant analysis and the player ratings at some point. Instant analysis will be out first before the player ratings, but we'll try and get the two of them as close to full time as possible. Also, if you subscribe to the website, on there today is a real thorough scouting report on Michel Ange Balikshua, who has been linked to Celtic in recent weeks. By all accounts, Tony, and there hasn't been anything new in this story, but maybe no news is good news in that regard. If Celtic were to sign this player at left wing, he seems like the real deal with what Celtic are needing. He's tall, he's athletic, he can run with the ball, he can shoot, he's got good numbers. It ticks every box, doesn't he? It'd be great to have two good players vying for that one spot in Daizen Maeda and maybe Balikshua. That would be a great strength and depth for that one position, wouldn't it, Tony?
Without a doubt. And, the more you read about this guy, the more you hope that Celtic interest is concrete and they can get a deal like this over the line. He's a player that looks as if he could excite the Celtic supporters, and, you don't want to get your hopes up too much because, so it's one of those ones, isn't it, that Celtic have been known to drag their heels and conduct concluding deals. So we shall wait with bated breath on that one, but I like the look of him, Ryan, and I think he could certainly come in and be a wonderful addition to the football team, and I think Brendan Rodgers thinks that as well, which is why Celtic have conducted some due diligence on it. And here's hoping, as you say, that no news is good news and that one moves quickly and Celtic can conclude a deal, because I think it's a player we would all love to see. Looks like a real exciting prospect and talent. But it's everything else, we shall see what happens.
I like taller wingers. That's one thing I'd certainly do like, especially in the European game. And I think they can be great out balls as well. It's great having pace, but having somebody on the wing that can beat a man but can also hold the ball up and allow his other forwards to come forward whilst he's holding on to the ball, maybe with his back to goal, if he does get it in the wide position. I think that could be a weapon that Celtic could really utilise this season. I've liked players like El Younousi in the past. I thought he had a a really good first loan spell at the club. His numbers were better in the second spell, but it was one of those ones where he was a victim of the whole team that season. He did score goals. It's just that season as a whole was just dreadful. But I think we've missed having a player like that since then. Somebody that gives you something different on the wing. They don't need to be rapid fast. They don't need to be able to just put it by a man. But if they're tall and they can be a focal point, maybe even from the wide areas, then that's a weapon that can be utilised in the new season, isn't it?
Oh, without a doubt. And as I say, I'm trying not to get too excited about.
It's 5'10", so it's a good size.
Yeah. I think he could rip it up in Scotland if he were to sign for Celtic. So again, it's like everything else. Fingers crossed, and we hope. And Brown Warrior coming in and saying Adam Ida is the answer to holding the ball up, not a winger. I would like both to sign Brown Warrior, regular contributor and commenter. Can you imagine both? Brown Warrior would be excellent. I still maintain that Adam Ida will sign for Celtic. I could be wrong in that. I'll hold my hands up and say I got it wrong if that doesn't come to fruition. But I'm still 100% confident Adam Ida will be a Celtic player at some point in the summer. I know you're not so confident, Ryan, but again, it's another one we shall wait and see. But yeah, really looking forward to tonight, Ryan. Stiff opposition in Chelsea. You see lots of Chelsea first teamers out there. Good to see Celtic put their wits against that opposition. And I would love to see them win the game, Ryan, just to go 3 out of 3 on their stateside tour. I just think that'd be a wonderful morale boost for everybody. And when you take into account the calibre of opposition that they've came up against, and take that form into Flag Day next Sunday. That sounds exciting, doesn't it, Ryan? We're doing it all again come next Sunday. Can't wait for that.
Really, really looking forward to being back at Celtic Park next Sunday. I know you won't be there, and that's unfortunate, but I'm looking forward to being back at Celtic Park. It's been, over 2 months since... It's been just around 2 months, because I was at the charity game, which was a good atmosphere in its own right, but it's nothing like a first game of the season, Flag Day, the start of a new campaign. I do maintain the point that I think it should be Celtic that are kicking off the new season, but I understand why that isn't the case, because Kilmarnock are playing in Europe on the Thursday into the Sunday, so that would make sense. The 3 days they couldn't play on the Saturday. That would just be too quick a turnaround for the team, especially a team that isn't used to playing in Europe. So that's fine. It's just one of these things that happens. Sentimentality would tell me, and just traditions would tell me that the champions would open up the season, although that hasn't always been the case in recent years. But that was, in an ideal world, that's what I would want. But I'm looking forward to being back at Celtic Park, sampling the atmosphere, seeing the full stadium tifo, which I'm sure will be incredible, by the Green Brigade and the Celtic and the North Curve collective. And yet, it's just so many things to look forward to. Hopefully, we'll have a couple of signings as well to talk about going to the game, on making our way to Celtic Park, new players to talk about. These are all the things that just make you excited to go back and watch games, especially at home.
Yes, and if you like the daily podcast, the morning briefings, and all of the stuff that we do, we've got another one coming up for you on Sunday, haven't we, Ryan? Myself and Kevin McKenna, 12 p.m. Grand old team, for it's a grand old team to pod for, and myself and Kevin thought we would cater for, as I say, people of a certain vintage, and we thought we'd delve into the archives and put our collective minds together and just chat, shoot the breeze for a good hour or so. So we decided to start with a beauty. It's 10 men won the league, and Ryan's put that on the site. 12 o'clock tomorrow, guys. Grand old team, myself and Kevin McKenna. Some Celtic chat, lots of other chat around 10 men won the league and events of 79 and therein. So you'll enjoy that. Well, hopefully you'll enjoy that, and you can let us know if you enjoy that, because we plan on doing it moving forward, on a consistent basis. So there you have it. Would you put up there, Ryan, apart from Ralston, that's probably the strongest team?
That's probably our strongest team. It was actually a misclick, but we can go with it. Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. I just want to call for the people in the comments. Thank you to the 665 odd people that are watching live. Incredible numbers once again. And we do appreciate every single one of you coming on. We'll be on live after as well. But get your predictions in, your score predictions, maybe even first goal scorer. Celtic are scoring a lot of goals in pre-season, and hopefully that is the same tonight. So give us your first goal scorer or maybe if there's only the one goal scorer, then give us that. But give us something, and give us the score prediction as well, and we'll try and get up as many as possible.
Yeah, indeed. As I say, it's a great way to end the stateside tour, hasn't it, Ryan? It's been a rip-roaring success, touch wood, up till this point. Here's hoping Celtic can get any kind of result and at least remain unbeaten on the stateside tour. But if they can get a win, I think it would be terrific.
Yep, absolutely. I completely agree. Two wins out of two so far. The result is secondary. We all know that. No injuries, which maybe wasn't the case. I would have much rather drew the game or something and then had no injury to Nicholas Kuhn. But it's a positive, I guess, in itself that Celtic managed to beat a team like Manchester City, regardless of the players that they had on the pitch. No injuries tonight would be absolutely brilliant heading into next season, the start of the season, next week, especially in those areas where there seems to only be one player available or one first pick available at this moment in time. I'm looking at the left back position, even though Matthew Anderson is there, having him starting his first game for Celtic and on Flag Day would be not a nightmare scenario, but one that'd be unexpected. Kyogo, got to keep him fit. If he's done his business, then take him off and wrap him in cotton wool until next Sunday. It's all about next Sunday. That's the most important game. Although there is some important factors tonight, but it's all about next Sunday, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Oh, without a doubt. Lots of score lines coming in, so I'll read a few of them, Ryan. Just start a few. Right, let me see. Here we go. Right. There you are now. Right. Martin Nicol first in with his prediction. Maida, first goal scorer, and 3-0 Celtic. Howard Moon, I think it's a first goal scorer prediction. Forest, he's saying. Brown Warrior, 3-2 to the Celts, he's saying. Thank you for that, Brown Warrior. And William O'Toole coming in. Is Maresca what if, or is Brendan the man for the job? 4-3 to the Hoops, he's saying a repeat scoreline of the other night. Era coming in and saying 3-1 Celtic, a Kyogo double and O'Reilly. Hazel Finn, evening Hazel, how you doing? Regular contributor, commenter, appreciate it Hazel all the time. 4-2 Celtic, Forest, first scorer season. A couple of people going for Forest, the first goal scorer around. CJ7, 3-2 to Celtic, Kyogo double and Matt O'Reilly to score. Colin Rogers, 4-2 for the tick. I think that's meant to say that.
I like that.
See what he did there?
See when you say it out like that, I realise where that was going, yeah.
Edward Moore, 2-1 Celtic and Kyogo, he's saying. And 3-2 Celtics is Sergeant Split P and a win and no injuries. That's exactly what we're all hoping for, I believe. Kyogo 3-2 says Sean Sweeney. Sean Buist also saying 3-2 to Celtic. And Sunders Scotland saying Kyogo first goal and 3-1 to Celtic. So there you go. Lots of people predicting a Celtic win, Ryan. Lewis Gralton coming in 4-2. Mona oops, he's saying, Ryan. There you go. Got to stress that. And Brown Warrior also coming in saying that a Hatate 30-yarder in the top bin. You'd appreciate that very much, wouldn't you, Ryan?
I think we can all go home if that's the case. We can just turn the stream off because it simply would not get any better than that if that was to be the case tonight. He's capable. He's definitely got a shot on him. Some of his shots can be quite speculative, but he's got it in his locker. He's got a rocket in his locker.
David Glasgow, 2-1 tighter game tonight. Matt O'Reilly to open.
I agree with that.
And Summit today, who I just flicked up by mistake because he contained a term, but he's saying Celtic 3, Chelsea 2, although he didn't call them Chelsea, Ryan. But there you go. Live TV, these things happen.
Less said, the better.
And Big Dom coming in and saying Kuhn will be missed big time. He most certainly will, but Big Dom, I'd rather have him for next Sunday if that's the case. So there you go. So yep, indeed Kuhn will be missed, but David Ferguson 6-2 to the leather belts and Kyogo to chip the keeper. I'm fond of my rhyming slang, I called them the leather belts, David, so I appreciate that, although I'm not as optimistic as you about that being the final scoreline. Declan Malloy saying James Forrest will fancy the first goal, 3-2 Celtic, he's saying. So there you go, So it's all good, Ryan. I think everybody's predicting a Celtic win. Be yourself, are you going to go with a prediction? You're going to give us one before we head off?
I'm going to say 2-1. I think it will be a tighter game, and I want it to be a tighter game because I want Celtic to be properly tested tonight. They were tested against, and it was a tight game actually against Manchester City, but I think these are two teams that are, Chelsea will have now another couple of days. They played Wrexham the other day and they drew 2 each, but it's a stronger side that they put out tonight rather than the team that they played against, the Welsh side. But yeah, I want it to be a tight game. I want it to be as professional as possible. No injuries would be great. If it's played in the right way, two teams that want to play expansive attacking football, then I'm all for that. I'm just hoping it's a worthwhile exercise. The fans are happy with what they see on the park and no injuries coming off of it.
I'm going another goal fest, Ryan. I'm going 3-2 Celtic. Who's going to score the first goal? I'll say Kyogo. There you go.
Kyogo's been on fire in pre-season, and Brendan Rodgers was talking him up last night as well.
Yeah.
If you listen to the press conference, great words from Rodgers, who is getting something from him, clearly.
Correct. Another one who's clearly had a word with, and another one who's clearly listened, and another one who's knuckled down and doing what the manager asks, and just buying into that team ethos. So fantastic. Again, as you say, I want a test as well. I want Celtic to be thoroughly tested tonight. I want the back four to be thoroughly tested as well. See how they come through that against quality opposition. Weren't tested so much against DC United, or tested in the second half. Well, both the first and second half by Erling Haaland, weren't they? And Kasper Schmeichel won that particular duel. Then Erling Haaland scored against Sinizalo in the second half for the trademark header, wasn't it? Really?
Haaland doing Haaland things, unfortunately, for Celtic. I have seen better defenders than Liam Scales get ragdolled like that. He does that. He doesn't really discriminate against any defenders. He will do that to basically every player that he comes up against. Even does that to Van Dijk sometimes as well.
Yeah, very much so indeed. Well, Ryan, we'll be back on. We will try and be as quick as we can with the work, but we have work to do, ladies and gentlemen, after the game. As Ryan said, there'll be my instant analysis up there as quick as we can after the final whistle. Ryan will be doing extended man-by-man or player ratings, and we'll be hopefully getting the Q&A at some point up on that site as well. Once we've done all that, we'll come on here and we'll chat to you guys if you want to join us. It'll be at some point late on in the night, won't it, Ryan?
Yep, we'll try and be on as early as possible. We might even come on before the Q&As come out. It just depends. We'll gauge it and see what time, but we're very flexible. We'll try and be on as early as possible for you guys, but it's work permitting.
Yeah, work permitting. And enjoy the game tonight, guys. I hope it's a spectacle. We all enjoy it. We'll see you back. We'll reconvene after it. Ryan, enjoy it, sir, and I shall speak to you anon. Yeah?
Ideal, guys. Enjoy the game wherever you're watching it, and fingers crossed Celtic get out with another win, but no injuries.